I am chair of the research group. As Ciara has said, I've recently taken over as chair of the research group, and I'm delighted to talk to you today about our role in strengthening open scholarship and digital communities of practice across the Conal institutions. So I just want to list the team. So introduce you to the team members without going through the list of the names, of course. So the group consists of 11 members from across Conal member institutions. We've a great range of expertise on the group, of course, in the areas of open scholarship and digital collections, support for institutional repositories, support for open access, etc. I also just want to give a shout out as well to previous chairs of the group. I'm sort of standing on the shoulders of giants in a lot of respects. And so previously we had Julia Barrett of UCT. She was the chair of the group for many years. And also my colleague Caleb Dervin are in University of Limerick. So I've just taken over from Caleb. So what do we do? Well, the group has a very broad remit, as you can see from the slide here. But essentially, we identify opportunities to improve research enablements and partnerships and support skill and competency developments in areas such as open access, open scholarship, scholarly communications, research data management, digital repositories, as well as digital scholarship, digitization and digital preservation. So there is a wide range of areas, as you can see. It's very diverse. So what we do with the group is we're obviously one research group, but we break ourselves into subgroups. And at the moment, we're kind of coalescing around two areas, around digital collections and around open scholarship, but always coming back then to meet as a research group to share all of our ideas and experience and so on. So I do want to talk a little bit about the kind of areas that we are currently kind of focused on in support of the Conal strategy. So we're identifying kind of key issues and challenges for open scholarship and providing guidance to Conal libraries to facilitate the sharing of best practice, integration and the embedding of open scholarship throughout the libraries at all levels and enabling open access to digital collections. And that was picked up by Alison in her opening remarks this morning. She was talking about the kind of heightened significance of open scholarship in the current time. But in addition to that, then we develop open scholarship policies and influence national open scholarship policy. And we've also got the important area under the responsible use and preservation aspect, where we formulate preservation actions for both digital and digitized content. Now, I do want to talk about how we've progressed the open scholarship strategic area in recent months. We've made great progress in that area by establishing the Digital Scholarship Network of Ireland, or DSNIE for short. This is a group that many of you may not be familiar with. We've gotten it off the ground in January of 2021. Now, this group is really interesting because it's been set up really by the Conal Research Group with the endorsement of the Conal board, but it's actually a network to support digital scholarship, and it's bringing together staff from Irish galleries, libraries, archives and museums. So not just, I suppose, the Conal libraries, but across the spectrum and including the Institutes of Technology. So it's bringing together the staff from that GLAM sector, as I say, and research active organisations who are involved in the development and delivery of digital scholarship services. So currently the network has 19 members from across the GLAM sector. And so far we've had 3 participatory workshops have taken place to set the network in motion and to develop the programme of work in support of the Network Action Plan. Now, essentially, the aim of the group is to encourage partnership and skills development. It's interesting, we've talked a lot this morning already about, I suppose, the catalyst that the pandemic has been and how it's kind of impacted the groups and the work of the groups and the focus of the group. And that is, of course, the case with the research group. But I do actually also want to point out that one of our other catalysts, I suppose, this year has been the work of the National Open Research Forum. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about how the research group has been kind of sort of working and dovetailing with that particular group. So the research group is essentially supporting open scholarship through our active participation in NORF. And just for those of you who don't know, of course, that's the National Open Research Forum. Now that's been developing, and NORF has been developing a National Open Research Landscape report that aims to summarise progress and challenges in each of the sort of areas outlined in the national framework of the transition to an open research environment that was published in, I think, 2019. So this work has been coordinated by 5 NORF working groups and a National Open Research Coordinator, Daniel Bangert, with input from the NORF Steering Group and the Funders Forum. So it's interesting that 6 kind of members of the research group are North working group members, and 2 of the members are actually serving as co-chairs of the working group. So I think that's really, as I say, interesting and important that there is that kind of dovetailing, and I'm sure there are other members of other Connell groups participating in North also. So recently as well, the research group provided a response to North's landscape report on behalf of Connell, and we highlighted issues in the report that are fundamental to the mission of research libraries, are consonant with Connell's current strategy and essential to the proliferation of open scholarship practices in Ireland. So some other areas of activity then, I suppose, supporting the policy side of things. So in conjunction with Connell Teaching and Learning, in November 2020, we ran a very successful workshop entitled Information Literacy and Scholarly Communication, exploring the potential for collaboration. And looking forward again to the future under the digital preservation side of things, in our submission to Connell Training and Development for 2021, we proposed a webinar entitled Research Data Management Plans, Best Practice in Getting Started. The research group has also been working with the Ordnance Survey Ireland to negotiate on behalf of the sector to obtain a higher limit on vector data, which is available under the National Mapping Agreement. So currently there are kind of limits there that don't meet the requirements of our students and our staff in our institutions. So I just want to pull this out again as an excellent example of one of the many ways Connell facilitates libraries working collectively to ensure researcher and user requirements are articulated and delivered. So digital preservation has been identified as a key training need through both the Connell Digital Scholarship Survey, which we ran in 2018, and the work of the Digital Scholarship Network of Ireland, which I mentioned earlier. So in the training and development plan for 2021, we've proposed running an online preservation workshop with the Digital Preservation Coalition, for example, and that will be done in conjunction with the Connell Unique and Distinct Collections Group. So looking to the future, and there's lots of bright things happening. The research group will play a key role implementing the actions and recommendations identified by North. So with a focus on the actions and recommendations which are consonant with Connell's strategic objectives, and that has to be at the core of it, of course. We'll continue to support the dissemination of skills development and training around open scholarship competencies, and we'll support the scholarly communications through monitoring open access research outputs. We're also kind of keen to play a role, obviously, and do play a role advising Connell Board on policy initiatives. And you can think about areas, for example, in open scholarship, on the open rights retention area. So again, be useful to talk to the RAS group and of course working with the Connell Board on all of that. And we're also very keen to articulate the needs for a national digital preservation approach. So we talked about the fact that we'll be running some training courses in this areas. But we also want to propose ways to accommodate a national, a digital preservation approach, maybe nationally, for example, through frameworks like the LOCS, which is the International Community of Institutions and Networks working together to advance their digital preservation capabilities. So thank you very much for listening. I'm really happy to answer any questions you have on the work of the research group.